Hi there, good morning, and happy Friday to all of you good Go readers. Welcome back to another episode of Cover to Cover. We are here today with
Mo,
Andrea,
and Morgan. We have some great news stories for you today, but before we get there, we want to talk about hidden gems. And when we say hidden gems, we're talking about books that you have read that everyone else should read and should know about. So we're going to share some of ours. And as we're doing that, let us know your hidden gems, these books that you love, and put it in the comments, message us, and let us know so we can add them to our must-read list. So guys, what are some of your hidden gems?
I know for me, the first two books that come to mind, number one is Euphoria by Lily King. And this book is such a beautiful telling, it's almost borderline ethnography fiction, and it's based roughly on the life of Margaret Mead, who's a very famous anthropologist, and it takes place in the jungle, and then there's this huge contrast when they come back to the city, and just what life is like when you have to give up so much to learn and follow your passions. And there's a lot of romance, so I think that you would really like it.
Okay, already decided to add it to my nightstand.
It's really good. And the other book that comes to mind for me is Notes to Myself by Hugh Prather. And this is sort of a series of books. There's a couple different ones. He has like 365 notes to myself, which is like a daily affirmation. And it's not like a self-help book, but it is a lot like a self-help book in that every page has just like these positive, beautiful thoughts to help you start your day off right. And so I went through this phase where I read a page every morning, and it kind of just put me in a really good place to start the day.
Yeah, that's a great plan. I have to try that.
Awesome. Okay, my hidden gem would have to be The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. I love that book. It was actually assigned reading in middle school, but it is a book that, I've taken pieces of throughout my whole life and remembered them. I moved around a lot and went to like 14 different schools, so it was assigned reading at a couple different schools for me.
How many times did you have to read it?
I think I've read it at like 3 different schools. So,
oh, wow. You probably got an A in that class every single time.
Yeah, I had it down. But it's great for literature lovers. I mean, it alludes to Robert Frost's poem. It talks about Great Expectations, Gone with the Wind. It's a really great book just about classes and social classes and just learning the differences in humanity, but how we are all the same, kind of like you have talked about on the show with us before. So great read. I would recommend it to any age, but I mean, if y'all have kids, I would definitely recommend it to your middle schoolers. So yeah, love that book.
Sounds great. Well, I brought mine with me today. I have recommended this book to more people than I can count, and it's The War of Art: Break Through the Blocks and Win Your Inner Creative Battles by Steven Pressfield. And my husband you can see this is like we really use this book. He was the first one to read it, and then he recommended it to me. And I just want to read you one of the opening lines in it to give you an idea of what this book is about. It says, "Most of us have 2 lives, the life we live and the life within us, the unlived life within us. Between the two stands resistance." So it's about the inner struggles and the journeys that we go through to be the person that we feel called to be and to do the craft, whether it be an art or dancing or writing or painting, whatever it is, to get past these things in our mind and to actually live into them and be who we want to be. It's all about the inner struggle that we have. So, I mean, I've talked to people on buses and said, hey, you got to read this book. I mean, complete strangers, this is the book, my go-to book for them. So I highly, highly, highly recommend The War of Art.
The War of Art.
Yes.
Have you read The Art of War?
Very different.
Yeah.
A little different.
Very different. But if you are creative or you're trying to grow in some way, whatever it is, pick up this book. It is great.
Awesome. Let us know if any of y'all have read any of these books, what you guys think about it, or if you guys decide to pick it up. Let us know what you think about it.
Yeah, we'd love to hear. And let us know what are your hidden gems, because we want to add them to our read list and talk about them on the show. So message us, put it in the comments, and let us know. But as you're doing that at this time, Andrea, tell us what is going on in the world of books.
Okay, so the Baltimore Book Festival is in the news this week with a controversy. The festival has been held for the last 21 years, featuring both local and national authors, signings, and more. It takes place September 22nd through the 24th in Baltimore, Maryland. The festival organizers have been receiving a lot of feedback from their constituents and have made the choice to remove Rachel Dolezal from the lineup this year. Rachel Dolezal made headlines in 2015 when she was outed as being white. Dolezal identifies as being black and was president of her local NAACP chapter. Dolezal received her memoir in full color, Finding My Place in a Black and White World, in March of this year, and was slated to be a featured author at the festival. Her removal is seen as controversial from both sides of the aisle, though the book festival is standing by their decision. J.K. Rowling, queen of modern fantasy, is well known for creating epic fantasies, being the only millionaire by writing, Twitter clapbacks, standing up for what she believes in, and trolling people that she disagrees with. This week, she has spoken up about rumors that she and comedian Stephen Fry have a long-standing feud. The rumors being circulated state that Fry was recording an audio version of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, known in the U.S. as the Sorcerer's Stone, and he was hung up on the phrase, Harry pocketed it. Supposedly, he called Rowling to ask if he could change it to Harry put it in his pocket, and she simply replied with no and hung up. The rumor further alleges that the phrase appears in the next 4 books. Rowling took to Twitter to clarify her stance on this rumor, letting us know that it was untrue and that Stephen Fry is completely lovely and that the sentence isn't in 4 books, #facts matter. J.K. Rowling was recently in New York launching the U.S. arm of her nonprofit organization Loomis. She said in an interview with the Associated Press that she is certain Loomis can solve the problem of institutionalization by 2050. The nonprofit focuses on finding ways to keep disadvantaged children in their family units, as opposed to group homes. Keeping the children connected with their families and making for longer-lasting success, Loomis estimates 8 million children are cared for in institutions around the world. For more info on Loomis, visit weareloomis.org. We will have that link for you below. Fantasy lovers, be prepared to spend your summer brushing up on Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials trilogy. Pullman has a new companion trilogy called The Book of Dust, slated for launch on October 19, 2017. These books will take place in the same world as his previous trilogy, but will not be a sequel or prequel, but it will be an equal. Pullman slated that the companion trilogy begins 10 years before the action of Book 1, The Golden Compass, or Northern Lights, in which the main character, Lyra, will only be 6 months old, but the series will end about 10 years after Book 3, The Amber Spyglass, in which Lyra will be around 20 years old. Pullman has also written a few other companion stories set in the same world. For more of Pullman's world, check out Lyra's Oxford, Once Upon a Time in the North, and The Collectors, which is also available as an audiobook. We love the idea of companion novels and further exploration of worlds that we love. When we come back, we will discuss other series that have taken that leap and authors who need to give us more. We will be right back after this short break.
Companion novels are a great way for authors to give us more of a world that we love when a story is finally completed. So lots of authors utilize that tool to serve for fanfare, but a lot of people shy away from the idea so that they can move on and work on different stories. So let's just discuss some authors who have done this and have done it successfully.
Okay, so something that comes to mind is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, and he turned that into Lord of the Rings. He created The Hobbit, and years later he made this trilogy, Lord of the Rings, and The Hobbit is focused on The Hobbit, but Bilbo Baggins, but in Lord of the Rings it's basically focused on his nephew, Frodo. And so I think that's really interesting. I mean, he's come up with some different examples of companion trilogies, but that is the main one that comes to mind.
Yeah, he's also written, we were just talking about this, the Silmarillion, and there's a couple of other companion stories that go along with it. And even other authors have explored this realm of Middle-earth with books like A Tolkien Bestiary and by David Days and a couple of other things. So Middle-earth is a really great realm where companion stories are being fleshed out.
Now, we've had a lot of news this morning about J.K. Rowling, so we can't leave her out.
No.
And so we know the Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. It is a very short book, only 144 pages, but that book has been turned into a trilogy, and we can't leave that one out. And all the other authors who are diving into the world of Harry Potter and Wizardy, who are making companion novels to go along with it. What do y'all think about that when authors tag on to another author's storyline and that world? What do you think?
It's kind of complicated because you want to think of it from the author's perspective. How do they feel when other people are exploring their world? You know, it's kind of their baby, their thing that they created. But from a fan's stance, you know, we always want more.
Yeah, you're
so
craving
I feel like,
more to that story for sure.
So I'm on board with it. Like, if people want to write books set in the wizarding world of Harry Potter or things about that world, I'm going to read it. So.
Now, we also can't forget Quidditch and Through the Ages, which is also an interesting read.
Yes.
And I was reading through this book, and someone reminded me that there's a lot of college campuses that are now having Quidditch as one of their sports teams.
Yeah.
I studied at Baylor, and we have like a nationally ranked Quidditch team.
No way.
Yeah, no, it's serious.
Did you play?
I didn't, but I would see, you know, people running
so
around
funny.
and playing, and it was really interesting to watch.
We should do it.
Oh,
We should
Quidditch
do it.
match?
They
Yes.
do it at Zilker Park when I'm there on the weekends. People are there playing Quidditch, and I watch them, and I don't judge them, and I secretly wish I could be with them.
Yeah.
So I think that we should put a team together. I think with this office, we could get a big group, and it would be
Yes.
totally fun.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
so in coming weeks, we will be
More on
running
that.
around on brooms.
Yeah.
And I will fall on my face.
Well, that's inevitable.
Yeah.
Other books that J.K. Rowling has written too as companion novels, the Tales of Beetle the Bard,
Yes.
which is a really big part of the Deathly Hallows, which is the last book in the original Harry Potter series. So that little companion book also gave us a little extra nugget. And I feel like people who are so legendary, like J.R.R. Tolkien and J.K. Rowling, have inspired other authors to explore this sort of thing. And another author that I really like who has done this is Michael Scott. He wrote this amazing 6-book trilogy called The Secrets of the Immortal Nicholas Flamel, and they kind of chronicle, it's kind of historical fantasy, so they chronicle real life characters. Nicholas Flamel, who also plays a role in Harry Potter, who is this very famous alchemist and had a very famous wife, and the story chronicles the idea of what was his situation and how magical was it, and what if the rest of the world had magical characters. So he explored that and did a ton of characters. Machiavelli was in there, I mean, a lot. So he wrote a couple of companion novels based on some of the series' favorite characters. He wrote Billy the Kid and the Vampires of Vegas, which is a really interesting short read. And he wrote Joan of Arc, which is another telling of Joan of Arc if she was a magical character. So those are some really interesting ways that I've seen that. Do you guys have any other stories or worlds that you need further explored? Like you need more companion novels or more information? Because I know I can think of a few.
Ooh.
I love the series. If you watched Once Upon a Time, and
Yeah.
so in the series, you know, they take all of these fairy tale characters and they're all put in the same world, and so they're all, you know, experiencing their lives in the same kind of weird, if there is a time zone even, in this world, and then they come back to like modern day, and so they like flip back and forth, and I love that because you can take like so many different pieces to that. I mean, you see what they would be like today and what they're like in in their own world, and I think that world would be really cool to explore. So yeah, I love that series.
I love a series by Francine Rivers. She's known for the book Redeeming Love. That was actually the first book I read of hers. Someone gave it to me and I could not put it down, so I started reading more of her books. And so she has this one series that's based in the 1st century, and each book explores a different character. So I don't know if you would say it's a series or if they're companion novels, because they each go in a different direction with different characters. But I love historical fiction, so I would love to see more of those. first century, second century, third century. It's a world it's very similar to ours today. Like, we don't even understand the similarities between, especially the Greek culture and our culture today. But I love history, so I would love more first century, second century.
Yeah. I have to take it back to fantasy because I'm a big fan of fantasy. And The Magicians is a trilogy written by Lev Grossman. And it finished just a couple of years ago. And I actually got to meet him at the Texas Book Festival, which was monumental. And it's recently been turned into a sci-fi series. So they've had 2 seasons out and they've been renewed for many more. So it's very popular. So you get a little bit extra there. But what I need is more books because the books are always better, right?
Absolutely.
So I just want anything set in the world of Fillory and all of these fun things that they explore in The Magicians. So that's where I'm at in life. I just always want more.
Guys, y'all have given me so many more books to check out.
I know.
I mean, my reading list is getting longer and longer
Y'all
and
who
longer.
have tuned in, hopefully y'all's is getting longer too.
Yeah. We would love to know your favorite companion books and the worlds that you need more of. Let us know. Put it in the comments. Send us a message. And as you're doing that, let's see what Tiffany is reading and what's on her nightstand, and make our reading list even longer. So, Tiffany, what are you reading?
Thanks, guys. Hi, everyone. It's Tiffany here, and today we're talking about a book called Same Beach Next Year by one of the queens of Southern fiction, Dorothy Benton Frank. Morgan, I totally thought of you when I saw this on my local bookstore bestseller shelf because it takes place in the magical low country of South Carolina. And I know you're from North Carolina and you really enjoy reading about places that take you back home. So, Same Beach Next Year is about 2 couples that begin a friendship one summer that will last more than 20 years. It's set in Charleston. Former sweethearts Adam and Eve, and their respective spouses, Eliza and Carl, meet at the Isle of the Palms. And year after year, the couples meet at the condos where they grow closer and closer each year. They survive family tragedies, there's some devastating heartbreak, and all kinds of life, including their children growing up and leaving home. There's plenty of humor to keep everything lighthearted, and you're sure to relate to at least one of the characters. The author, Dorothy Benton Frank, was actually born there in South Carolina. So even though I haven't been to that beach, I know she's really capturing the vibe of the coastal breezes that flow through the southern beaches. I can just smell the salt water in the air when I'm reading it. I love this review from Adriana Trigiani. She said, Dottie Frank's books have the fizz of a gin and tonic, the hilarity of a night out at a comedy club, and the warmth of a Southern Carolina sun. Dip in, dive in, but no matter how you go, you'll love her. And let me give you a secret. Do not flip to the last page if you don't want to spoil the plot. I'm guilty of doing this. I am terrible about reading a little from the back of the book. So again, do not read the last page, guys. Okay, do you want to put this book on your nightstand? Be sure to wait for the end of the show because we're dropping the price of Same Beach Next Year to only 99 cents for a short time after the show. And it's an amazing hardcover book. No one's giving out book deals like we are, so look for the link to buy in the comment section for a short time after today's show only. So that's it for me. I hope you'll enjoy reading this week, and stay tuned for our next episode of Cover to Cover, when I'll be reviewing another bestseller and giving it away for only 99 cents. I'm Tiffany Harlick, and this was What's on My Nightstand. Thanks.
All right, so we'll have that book for sale on a flash sale for 99 cents for 19 minutes after the show. So get yourself a copy of Same Beach Next Year. All right, and in the spirit of it being Friday, the last work day of the week, am I right, ladies?
Oh, yeah.
I thought we could go through 9 amazing last lines of books. These were culled from an article that the Huffington Post shared back in 2014. Morgan, why don't you take us away?
Yes, so number 9 is this. So we beat on, boats against the current, borne back seasonally into the past, from The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Number 8, Go, My Book, and Help Destroy the World as It Is, from Continental Drift by Russell Banks. And then number 7, Then starting home, he walked towards the trees, and under them, leaving behind him the big sky, the whisper of wind voices in the wind, bent wheat. From Cold Blood by Truman Capital.
Number 6, Yes, she thought, laying down her brush in extreme fatigue, I have had my vision. From To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. Number 5. Tomorrow, I'll think of some way to get him back, after all. Tomorrow is another day. From Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. Number 4. He Loved Big Brother from 1984 by George Orwell.
Number 3, don't ever tell anybody anything. If you do, you start missing everybody. From Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. Excellently observed, answered Candide. But we must cultivate our garden. From Candide by Voltaire. Number 1, as you from crimes would pardon be, let your indulgence set me free. From The Tempest by William Shakespeare.
All right. That was a great list to get us motivated to finish some books this weekend. And now we're at that part of the show where we would like to give you some presents.
Yes! Okay, so today we are giving away Go Read t-shirts. So if you would like one for yourself or somebody else, please share today's episode and send us a message with your size, your address, your name, and your style.
Yes. So V-neck, beautiful shirt, and then we have the crew neck as well. So share, send us a message, name, size, and address, and we will get these out to you. I have a lot of them to send out from last week and this week, so if you were expecting a shirt, it is coming. We're sending them all out today. So don't forget to share and send us a message.
All right, well, thank you for watching Cover to Cover today. Please like and share our video, and stay tuned for lots of great stories next week, including Why Beren and Luthien, which is a book recently released by Tolkien and his family. It's such an important story. So we'll be back live on Monday, June the 5th at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time.
And flash sale, everybody, right after this show, 19 minutes. Get Tiffany's book for 99 cents. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Bye.